or whatever. Dave Aranda and the coaching staff made the decision. Blake Shapen is their number one quarterback. Gerry Bohanon has entered the transfer portal. And so that happened in the last less than 24 hours. We'll try to break it down and get your feedback as well, an opinion, and how we look at it as well. One of the things I got a text from somebody close to the program. And one of the things that Dave Aranda did, there's two things he did. One, he could have let this linger. And then all of a sudden it's post-May 1st. Not that Gerry Bohanon could not have transferred or whoever would have been not the choice. But May 1st is that deadline. We hear about it. You could still transfer, get a waiver. But he did that. He did Gerry a favor. Not that it was like, hey, by the way, I'm going to do you a favor. But he could have let this linger, and some coaches probably have. And number two, he was not afraid to make the decision and make it quickly. And we've seen him do this before. When the offensive coaches, of course, struggled the first year, he made immediate moves. We've seen him. He's got that ability. And not all coaches will do that because sometimes they're worried about being one, wrong, and number two, the blowback from the decision.
You know, getting to know Coach Aranda and the way that he handles things. It didn't surprise me that he did right by Gerry Bohanon in that he's someone who he doesn't have a motto that's just a motto. Like if it's person over player that they've been talking about all this time, then that's what that is. It's not to steal one from Urban Meyer, the top 1% of the top 1% players and character people, and you uttered that sentence when Aaron Hernandez is on your team, like just to say it. He really means what he says. So if it's player over person or person over player, then the person needs a favor. He needs a little bit of a gap and to go make his decision. And look, he might wind up coming back if he didn't like what's in the portal. I don't think that's likely, but you never know. And you know, they made the decision. They're going to stick with it. And I think it's the right one, but I mean, that can be debated.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of sad, quite honestly, that doing the right thing has to be so talked about and blown up and, praised. Yeah, I give Aranda credit for making the decision on his starting quarterback, but every single coach in America is going to make that decision. Now, some of them don't have a decision to make because the starter is already there. But, yeah, I'll give Aranda some level of credit for handling the position, but that's what he's paid millions of dollars to do. So I'm not going to go too gaga over, how it was done. Had he chosen Gerry Bohanon and then Blake Shapen goes in the portal, I'm sure today would be saying, well, good on Dave Aranda for letting Blake time to get into the portal. Like, I just feel like the bar is incredibly low for coach behavior if just doing the right thing.
But I think it is. I think sometimes the bar for coaches is low.
I'm putting under the flashlight right now and talking about because I think that's so incredibly sad that the bar is that low, that we just assume that Dave Aranda would be like most other college football coaches and just let this linger, not to intentionally hurt somebody else, but to just basically have the benefit of a full quarterback room. So that just, I think if everybody pauses for a second and realizes how low the bar is, that's kind of sad. Now, having said that, I'm glad they made the decision. I'm glad they made it quickly. We didn't know how long this was going to take. It could have dragged out. It could have gone a couple more weeks. It could have gone into the summertime. This could have gone all the way up until 2 weeks before the season opener like it did last year. But that wouldn't have been fair. So, yeah, the timing is, quick. Based on his comments on Saturday, I don't think any of us thought when he said he was going to meet with the quarterbacks and meet with players this week that meant by Tuesday he'd have a decision. And I just thought that meant, hey, it'll be a few days and then we'll hear something. But it's good to know. I think it's good to know for fans to have a better picture of what next year is going to look like, who to rally around. It's good for the players to know who the guy is and who, over these next few months, when they're grinding out of the spotlight and really putting in the most important work that's going to be put in, they know who QB1 is. And so I think all of that's good. The only downside, of course, is Gerry Bohanon and him entering the transfer portal now. I wish him the best. I wish there was some way that he could end up back in Waco to finish his career because he's put so much time in. But this is the reality of college football, and if he wants to play quarterback, it's going to have to be somewhere else unless he wants to sit behind Blake Shapen and hope that his number gets called. So I understand that, and best of luck to him wherever he goes. But, man, he did a lot for Baylor. He was a great leader, and they will certainly miss some of what he brings to the table.
Yeah, Gerry Bohanon, other than maybe Nick Florence, and the rules were different back in 2011 when RG3 had the concussion in the second quarter against Texas Tech when he peeled off a red shirt and that was it by playing the rest of that game. I don't know. I'm sure there's others, but Gerry Bohanon's been one of the most ultimate teammates you could have. You talked about leadership. You talked about being there, talking about being in all the different rooms, all the different film rooms, all the different position groups. And you hate it, and yet it's also a production business. And